Oh, carbon fiber.
Okay, so I'm going to continue on with the carbon fiber theme on the wrap and that. So I've already done the doors themselves. Now I'm going to move on to the windows. In order to take these off, they're pretty simple. I'm just going to pry underneath the top molding first, and it's held on by clips. So there's kind of a finger or a channel in there that's held on by a little clip on the body all the way across. I'm going to take off the top molding first. I'm going to take off this side piece next. It's held on the same way, and then I'm going to take off the bottom last. So let me get all those off, and then I'll show you how to wrap these stuff. Okay, so in order to get this off, really I'm just going to use one of my old plastic tools that I always love to tell you about. But I'm going to use a piece underneath it. And the reason I'm going to do that is I don't want to put kind of the fulcrum here on the glass itself. It puts a lot of pinpoint pressure on there. You never know if it's going to crack. This is old glass, and boy, replacing a coupe rear window, ooh, it is not fun. It is not going to be good to get. So I'm going to use just a piece underneath it. Now I can go under the quarter molding here, the trim, put that other piece under there, and I'm just going to lightly lift up. You can see it'll pop up. Back under, put the piece under, pop, go down a little bit, under. If it doesn't come, just move down a little bit more. There it is, all the way down. So once I have all the way off, I can then take this side piece off the same way, and then the bottom is going to come off the same way. And just remember, on the bottom piece itself, remember there's kind of like push pin clips on the top, so you need to make sure those are going to come off, and most likely they're going to break because they're old plastic. So you're going to open up the trunk lid, take those off, save as many as you can. If you can't, well, they're going to break anyway. So moving on. Okay, so now I've got everything laid out. And so what I've done is I've rolled out the carbon fiber vinyl on the back. So you can kind of see there, this is obviously the back side's up because you can see the 3M. All the trim on the rear window is now cleaned. I cleaned it with some dishwashing, I guess water. You should say a bottle of cleaner, so I'll just show you. That's just a bottle there of water with a couple drops of dish soap in there. Degreases, cleans it up nicely. You can kind of see here, I think I've thrown that away, but this is the clean one. So there still was a little bit of dirt on there, but that's cleaned up. So what I've done is I've nestled everything in together. So you can kind of see that I've cut just the piece just big enough to get all the chrome trim off the back window off. Now obviously, once I start wrapping this, I can do it piece by piece and I'll cut out, but you don't have to do like such a large section just on there. So once I get this started, I'm going to start with the biggest piece there, which is the bottom, get that wrapped, and then I'll start on the other pieces with the remainder. Okay, so now I've taken off the back off the vinyl itself, so you can see it's laid out. It will stick to itself, so just watch if it starts to curl. But now you can start laying your pieces on there and start getting this stuff wrapped up. Literally.
We about to take you higher. Don't stop,
so let me show you a mistake I've made, because there's no lies in videotape. So I was wrapping the bottom piece, and obviously, well, I tore it. This stuff, once it's stuck, so be careful of that. And it also is temperature, I guess, dependent. It really does. So right now it's in the shop, it's about 50 degrees. It's cold outside, it's still, you know, it's warm, but not that warm. So obviously this stuff doesn't like to be cold because it gets brittle. And I was trying to peel it up and lift it up. And so here you can see, well, it just tore off. So I'm gonna have to cut another piece, but the piece I've taken out of the center there, I can use for other pieces, maybe some of the quarter windows and that. So not a big deal. Just be ready for it. Do it warm if you can. If you can wait till summer, well, I can't, so I'm not going to. So I'm going to cut another piece. I'm going to start over, but, it's just material. It'll take time. It'll take time, but I'll get it. Okay, so I'm back for piece number 2, or try number 2 with the back windshield molding. The other stuff that didn't work, it kind of tore, and that's okay. I took it off, and I started with smaller pieces, so I took the scrap there, and I wrapped the other pieces of the window with the sides for there, and I wrapped a lot of the side trim in that with it, so I didn't waste it other than what was attached to the window for the bottom big piece of the trim. So I think I've got about a system here, and I'm going to go back with that and now film that. So here's try number 2 with the bottom of windshield molding. I think I got a better system figured out. Alright, so here's where I got myself in trouble last time. So I got the piece all on the vinyl there. Last time I tried to use big sheets, so actually now I'm just going to cut it loose. And so you can see I've now got the lower windshield rear window molding. And it's cut out here so I can at least work with it a little bit. So now comes the fun part, I guess. But it's probably the hardest piece to do. So I've got it tacked on. You can see it's on here on the flat surface of the piece. The piece I do now, or the hardest part, is taking the patience to get the details right. So I'm going to start on the far end, and I'm going to work myself around with my heat gun, working again 6 to 8 inches at a time, and I'm just going to work my way around. I'm going to start with getting the flat all the way around correct, get that surfaced right, and then I'm going to start working the edges once I've got it all the way around. Start with the biggest surface first, and then work back around the details, or on the edges, and then at the end, you'll get the ends. So big to small is the easiest way to do it. And I tinkered with it last night. After I got this, I got kind of frustrated and thought, no, there's got to be a better way. Guys are wrapping whole cars, so there's got to be an easy way. So go to big to small, and it really worked out for me. Okay, with that piece done, here comes a little bit of a tricky part. So you've got, if you look on the back, you've got obviously the molding up here, and then you've got this landing here. Now this landing itself is what really is covered up by the trunk lid, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But you've got this upper piece here that kind of slopes down and then goes to the landing here. I'm going to actually cut this just off the landing, and then I'm going to try to heat it and take it down. You've got to be careful when you're trying to do these long pieces if it goes to a landing down. If you take off the backing, it's going to stick. It's cold right now, so this stuff is not going to be easy to do. But I'm just going to cut it here with using my razor blade and that, and then I'll use my heat gun to kind of warm it up and then heat it down and get it set. And then in the last piece, I'm going to do this front edge. So we'll do this next piece here, just cut it, take off the extra material, and then I'm going to tuck it down, and then you can cut it again. Okay, so here's the end of the bottom waist molding. So I'm going to leave this piece here alone. So if you kind of look, this little bit here on the edge, I'm going to leave this. But everything came out pretty nice. So I'll show you. I've got a couple of mistakes in here. You can kind of see the reflection of it. The best thing about this Di-NOC really is that it's pretty forgiving, honestly. So I got a couple of air bubbles in there. If you get an air bubble, you can just take it kind of in an inconspicuous spot. I kind of did at the bottom of the radius there, but just put a small hole in it with the razor blade. Just a little one there if you get air bubble, and you can kind of heat it and kind of work it out. Here's the side pieces. I did these last night, so you can kind of see, carbon fiber, but they already have the seals in the back. So I need to put the seal in the back of this. You know, it's got the Y flange, it fits over that, so put that in first, and then you can kind of squish the extra edge down in there. Fit that all the way around, and I can re-clean this, and then I have the top edge molding done. It's going to be pretty much the same. Obviously lay the material out. You're going to lay this down, work the, I don't know if you want to call it the highest edge, but it's going to be the top piece or the side, and then you're just going to kind of heat and work around. And again, I'm using just this tool, and I'm not using the point to drag it down. I'm using the flat edge, so I'm kind of pushing into the radius here. So think of it kind of pushing in all the way down, and then I can use a full edge all the way down to give that crisp line. So once I have that done, That'll take me another, I don't know, a couple hours or something. I'm gonna go take a break. And then when I come back, I need to vacuum off the all the dirt and everything that's on the coupe on the back window. Make sure the clips are back in, and then really I'm gonna wash the window real quick. I got some gunky stuff and get that off. And then I can put it all back together. So I'm gonna do all that in between breaks, and then show you the finished product of what it's gonna look like when it's done. Okay, so here's the finished product with the rear window pieces put back on. So that's the sides, top and bottom. You can see they fit pretty well together. You can actually see kind of down in together here, looking at those. They do fit very well along the way. So everything fits well across the car. You kind of look down there. And that's really it. So I need to continue on with the other pieces that I've got left. And that'll be a wrap. So I got to do the front and a couple other pieces. And then I think I'll have some material left over. So with that, just leave you a kind of a backup shot. You can kind of see the reflection of the glass. I did actually clean the window. So there you go. That is the, well, I guess that's a wrap. We'll see you next time.